Okay, everybody, hello. Here we are for another interview in preparation for the Bitcoin Fest, which is going to be occurring on the 6th of April. And this afternoon, I'm really pleased to introduce to you Joe Martin from Joe Martin Music, who I have actually seen perform at another event. I know he's someone who's been into Bitcoin for a while and is going to be entertaining us at this event. So please, Joe, please introduce yourself and let us know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Victoria. Yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter based here in the UK, in the Northwest. And I've been kind of doing music all my life, really. But sort of in the past 10 years, really focusing on songwriting and trying to build a career as a songwriter. And this time last year, I released my debut album, which I toured around the UK. And I've been touring the UK since. I've got a UK tour coming up in a few weeks' time.
Wow.
Um,
How many locations?
There's 10 dates on that.
Okay. Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
And which location are you most looking forward to?
Oh, well, I don't know.
Apart from the Bitcoin Fest, of course.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess there's a few venues that I played on the last tour that were great, but I'm looking forward to playing some of the new places as well, like
Okay.
Stroud and Bath and that kind of thing. I always like breaking out and playing new places that I've not been before. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
quite daunting, but it's exciting as well.
Yeah.
And then the past couple of years, basically been putting my music out on the value for value model, which is basically a new way of monetizing content online. Just because it's becoming increasingly obvious the problems with the kind of current paradigm of recorded music and distribution and streaming and that kind of thing, for especially for independent artists. So um, this kind of new model looks like a sort of a way that could be fixed or helped, sort of thing.
So how does that work exactly? Could you explain that a little bit more for our audience?
Yeah, it's not really that intuitive, because basically, as I'm sure all your listeners know, they might be subscribed to Spotify or Apple Music, and they pay sort of a monthly subscription of $10.99 a month, and they can then just access all the catalog on Spotify and Apple Music, that kind of thing. But the idea behind value for value is that the content is actually openly available from the start, and it's ad free as well. There's no ads, so it's kind of just like literally free to access. But these players that you can listen on, for instance, this is kind of more in podcasting at the moment, but music is coming through in this new way. But the app that you're listening on, you can send value back in the form of Bitcoin in sats. So you can stream sats on an app like Fountain, and on the new Wavelake app that's coming out, you can boost a certain amount of sats to your favorite artist, add a comment, like saying I really like the song, and send some sats with that. And it's very direct. It goes straight to the artist, no middleman taking a cut. So whatever you do send is making it to the artist, which is great. It gives a real, connection between the fan and the artist again, which I think's been lost with these.
So is there a particular app that you use for that?
Yeah, so at the moment, I've got access to the early Wavelake app that's still in beta at the moment, but I think they're planning to launch the official version of that in the next few months. So that's going to be good. And Fountain as well, which is mainly being geared more towards podcasting, but it's also got a top 100 music catalog from Wavelake that it's pulling in, because Wavelake are putting out all the music on an RSS feed, which can be then sort of ingested by any RSS compatible app. Whereas, like, if you upload your music to, say, Spotify, you're going through a distributor. So I use EMU Bands, for instance, and I pay them a flat fee, and they upload my music on my behalf to Spotify, Apple, Deezer, Tidal, all these segregated platforms. But with something like Wavelake, when you sign up to them, you upload your music, and then they distribute that as an RSS feed, which can then be read by apps like Fountain and LM Beats and True Fans and all these different sort of podcasting or music apps that are compatible with RSS, and then they can read that. So it's kind of like it's kind of an open ecosystem, and in a way, it's kind of like it's a bit of a, you've got to kind of flip your mindset a bit as an artist, because you've got to accept that your music could be listened to for free, uh,
Mm-hmm.
technically.
Mm.
But it's just easy for people to send value back to you if they like what they hear. And a lot of artists, including myself, are finding that actually it is making us more than Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube and all these other platforms. So
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I have a few musicians in my life, and I've not heard them talk about anything like this. So I might have to forward this
very new.
interview to them to give them give them access to some different tools, because I know that there are a lot of big artists who talk about the problems with the distributed streaming apps, and of course everyone just believes that there's only one place you can go. In fact, it's becoming more and more restrictive. I mean, my daughter finds Spotify really frustrating now because they keep changing the rules by which you can actually, listen to your music, which she hates because she loves setting up a playlist so that she can listen to it in a particular way. So this is the trouble when, and this ties in nicely with Bitcoin, when everything becomes one centralized organization. You become at the mercy of their rules. So of course, using your skills and starting to use other sort of distributed mechanisms ties in really well. And it's really interesting to hear about your experience and your feedback. And so are you finding that it's definitely working better for you then?
I mean, yeah, like just numbers wise, I've already made so much more on Wavelake than I ever have on Spotify, and it's still
Okay.
small. It's not. I couldn't
You're not global yet.
make a living off it. No, and that's not really the point. It's
Hmm.
more of a principle at the moment, and just showing that the technology is working. Um,
Okay.
the principle of it is basically you as the artist is putting all of your time, effort, resources, money into recording and producing and putting out this music. And for someone like another company like Spotify to just kind of like take it all, or like
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
give you anything, or it just
Yeah.
doesn't feel right. Whereas the value for value model just feels completely right, where you know the person that should be compensated is the artist for their own work, and then it should be a value exchange directly between the listener and the artist, and cut out all
Yeah.
these different intermediaries that are taking a cut. Uh,
Yeah. So how did you become involved in this software model? Were you introduced to Bitcoin first, or did you find out about this first and then learn about Bitcoin? Which way round was it?
yeah, I was into Bitcoin first, and I was kind of like just on the sidelines, just like watching what was
Hmm.
happening. Became interested in the Lightning Network and how it was developing,
Hmm.
and then I listened to a podcast that was interviewing the founder of Fountain, Oscar,
Okay.
um, and that they were bringing out this podcasting app that had Lightning baked into it, and you could
Okay.
send Lightning payments to your favorite podcasters. And I thought, well, that's a great idea. I downloaded the app as soon as it came out, and then I started listening to Kevin Ruck's show, which was exclusively a Lightning show, and he was talking about this idea of value for value, and I was like, what's that? What does that mean? And I heard Adam Curry's name pop up a few times and started listening to him. And then, yeah, this idea of someone getting value from content, whether it be a podcast or music, and being able to send value back, value for value. That's kind of what it means. It just really made sense to me, and I got really excited about it. And I thought, well, why can't I? What's stopping me from putting out a song on this model? And at the time, I only knew of Fountain, so I just uploaded a song to Fountain. Well, I
Hmm.
uploaded it to RSS.com and then claimed my show as a podcast on Fountain, which was just one song, uh,
Hmm.
like a 3-minute podcast as a song. And I just put it up on Stacker News, and I put it up on Twitter, and just said to people like, "I've put out a song. You can send me sats if you like it." And I was really blown away by the response. I mean, I made I think about £100 in like the first
Wow.
week,
Amazing.
just from random people on the internet just sending sats, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And then very shortly after that, Sam from Wavelake reached out to me and just said, we're doing that, but we're just a music platform exclusively. And I thought, well, that's what I've been looking for. Well, that's initially what I was looking for.
Hmm.
Um, so then just kind of like gradually uploaded my back catalogue of sort of 10 years of my work to Wavelake. And yeah,
Fantastic.
and going forward, I mean, I just want to try and kind of release early on Wavelake, maybe release a few weeks earlier than all the other platforms, and just kind of encourage people to hop over to Wavelake and listen to me on that, or any sort of podcasting 2.0 app, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's still so early, and Wavelake, the kind of barrier, I guess, at the moment is just being people are used to listening to their music on a mobile app.
Hmm.
Up till now, it's just been a website basically. So I think when their mobile app comes out in the next few months, that'll be it'll be an easier sell to get
Hmm.
people to check it out and go over there.
Yeah. And do you have many colleagues in the music industry? Are they equally fascinated by how this is working? How's the adoption taking off amongst people who haven't heard about it before?
I don't know. Well, like when I bring it up to people, they're like, "Oh, that's really interesting. It sounds
Yeah.
good." And then I'm like, "You should
And
just
do
like,"
nothing.
I'm just like, "You should just go and upload one song to it, see what happens." And they're like, "No," or
Really?
they don't get it. They're like, when I kind of explain to them that it's free to upload and you can get paid,
Yeah.
they think there's some kind of weird patch because they're just not used to it, because they're used to
Yeah.
paying to upload to like a distributor and not getting paid. So this is completely the opposite. So they think
Yeah.
there's kind of weird like catch to it, and there's really
Yeah.
not. Um, I guess the main barrier at the moment is just kind of getting the listeners, the fans, into the Lightning ecosystem, getting them from their Fiat to Lightning to be able to actually participate and send uh,
Hmm.
stats to their favorite artist. But that's just a kind of, well, it's a regulatory thing, I guess, but it's a technical hurdle. But we'll get, they'll get there. The apps will get
Yeah.
there. It will just become seamless at some point, and then I think a lot of artists will just start rushing in because it will just make complete sense for them.
Yeah. I think I was saying this the other day on this interview. I mean, this is the thing about Bitcoin. It's such a paradigm shift that actually implementing it will just shift so many things in the way things have been done. And we're already seeing evidence of it, just music being one example. But because it's such a paradigm shift, it's like trying to explain Bitcoin to people. It's like, no, we don't get it. And you can make it sound like it's a really great idea, but actually going from great idea to putting it into place, because there are so many barriers from not actually fully understanding what it is for people to take action on it. So yeah, we need people like yourself demonstrating how it works in order for it to take off, which is why you're coming up to Nottingham to perform for us. So how did that come about? How did you end up being involved with the Bitcoin Fest?
I just saw it on Twitter and I reached out to them just saying, this looks great. I'm probably going to come down anyway, but if you want me to perform, then I'm more than happy.
They
And
snatched your hand off.
yeah, and Nick was like, yeah, sounds great, and that was it. so,
Oh, fantastic.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause I think I saw you perform, was it the Avon Valley Adventure? Maybe not last year, but the year before?
yeah,
And
that's
did
right, Bristol.
and so you bring along your poster with your QR code so everyone can zap you with sats. We're going to have a number of innovations like that, with the football team. We've got Zebedee putting up a scoreboard for the players and things like that. So this is just another example of all these different activities we're going to have going on, where we're demonstrating how Bitcoin works. So you won't be the only one this time. I think sometimes it's a bit hard when you're the first person that turns up and go, I've got this QR code, and everyone's kind of go, what? Even though
Yeah,
we're Bitcoiners. But there are going to be a number of other events that are kind of demonstrating the same thing. So hopefully you won't feel quite so lonely this time.
yeah. Well, I mean, in a room full of Bitcoiners, I've got to try and do a live value for value experience. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
Yeah. And do you have a particular how many songs do you think you're going to perform, and do you have any favorites that you've lined up for us?
Um, I don't know. I mean, they've asked me to do 2 half-hour sets, so
Okay.
I'll probably do a mixture of some covers and original stuff, and I'll probably do stuff I've been putting up on Wavelake this
Yeah.
past year, and then some new stuff as well, because I've been writing quite a bit of new stuff recently. Um, that I'll be playing on my UK tour as well, so it'll be a good chance to give that an airing.
Okay. Fantastic. And will you be bringing CDs or anything to sell, or is that really old school now?
Yeah,
You
I
don't
mean,
use those anymore.
yeah, I've got CDs. I've
Okay.
got some little USB sticks as well.
Okay, cool.
So I'll be
Very
bringing some.
modern technology.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be bringing some merch and I'm giving discount for Sats if anyone wants that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I had a few Bitcoiners come to my shows on my tour last year, and I saw
Yeah.
some merch for Bitcoin, which was fun. So
Oh, fantastic. Do you have any merch apart from your CDs? So,
um, I used to have some T-shirts. I've like done
yeah.
bottle openers at some point. Yeah,
Yeah.
like for
There's
an
someone in
artist.
our there's someone in our meetup group that keeps saying to me, "Victoria, you need some merch." It's just like, "Oh, it's
Yeah,
just too much of a hassle."
yeah, yeah. I mean, like as an indie artist, you do need merch at live shows because that can like make a gig viable or not if it's a long way
Yeah.
from home. Like that could pay your
Yeah.
fuel if you sell a good chunk of merch.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's tough with unless you have a really great design on t-shirts.
Yeah.
I always find that quite hard to shift sometimes. So
Mm,
my audience still buy CDs, thankfully. So
okay.
yeah, I've not done vinyl yet. That's next on the list. Yeah,
Ah, very retro.
yeah.
Oh, well, I'm really impressed with your ability to kind of think outside the box and do things differently. And obviously, when we're preparing an event, rather than just having speakers talking about Bitcoin, having someone to come and entertain us with something a bit different is always welcome. So thank you so much for making the effort. Is there, I mean, have you seen the schedule? Is there anything that on the schedule that you think will be a particular highlight, or are you just focused on your performing? And
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the workshop stuff and just like
okay,
seeing Ben. I think Ben Ark's going to be there.
yeah, yeah.
I've seen Ben a couple of times at these different events, and he's just super smart. And like, I'll pick his brains about all Noster things probably, and what's on the horizon with that. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I'm not that techie, but I just like seeing the new stuff, the new gadgets,
not
whatever
that
he.
techie, he says.
Yeah, well,
Innovating all these new technical innovations with an old school career.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's
but I
like,
know what you mean. I know what you mean. You can kind of have the idea, but actually implementing it, and it still messes with your brain while you try and work it out, especially if you're not a computer technician. So
yeah,
yeah, I empathize.
so much to learn.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, that sounds great. So I think I'm not going to take up too much of your time. We're trying to keep these interviews short and snappy just to give people an introduction to the people who are going to be there. And if they're going to see all the interviews, if you make them too long, they won't actually have time to come to the event. They'll be too busy watching the interviews. So thank you so much for popping on and giving us your time today. For anyone who's watching on the live stream later, we're still looking for some subscribers. So please subscribe, maybe give us a like and a comment in the link just to help our algorithm. And tomorrow, we have a very special guest, a Bitcoiner who likes to circulate at these conferences, but likes to stay hidden. So I'm still waiting for his photo before I put up the thumbnail. But yeah, there'll be another interview tomorrow. So thank you very much, Joe. Thank you for your time, and we'll see everyone else tomorrow. All
Thanks,
right.
Victoria. Cheers.
Bye.